To be at this juncture today is unacceptable on so many levels and is antithetical to the WSU experience our student athletes so richly deserve.
Washington's highest paid employee officially out of a job due to the state's vaccine mandate. Nick Rolovich is no longer WSU's head football coach. Good evening and thank you for joining us for Crempton News at 11 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. After weeks of questions and speculation, word came down earlier tonight. Washington State University fired head coach Nick Rolovich and 4 assistant coaches. The reason? The state's vaccine mandate, which took effect today. Rolovich had been seeking a religious exemption, but in the end, the university decided they could not accommodate him and parted ways with their head coach. Sports director Brenna Green spent the day in Pullman and breaks down everything we know so far.
Tonight, the media met with WSU Athletic Director Pat Chun and WSU President Kirk Schultz, who are dealing with the fallout of not only firing their head coach today, but also 4 other assistants who did not comply with Jay Inslee's vaccine mandate.
To be at this juncture today is unacceptable on so many levels and is antithetical to the WSU experience our student athletes so richly deserve.
Pat Chun rarely offers emotional statements, but today was an emotional day in Pullman. Every WSU employee whose exemption request was denied or accommodations weren't approved by their supervisors was given the last-ditch option to get vaccinated. Rolovich denied that today and walked.
As the director of athletics and steward of this department, I take full ownership and responsibility for hiring Nick. In January of 2020, based on all the information we had at the time, including extensive references and conversations with knowledgeable football experts, we believe we found the perfect fit and a long-term solution for Washington State football. Unfortunately, we stand here today having to make a transition.
A transition that Chun hopes doesn't cost his already cash-strapped athletic department too much money, as he said in his press conference today that all 5 coaches were fired for cause, which means the university says they do not owe those coaches any buyout money. There's definitely a possibility of a lawsuit, though. For now, Chun knows one thing: getting vaccinated was just not an option in Rolovich's eyes.
We've had conversations that date back months. So, I mean, he was resolute in his stance, and he's ready to make a choice. That choice did not put him in compliance with this proclamation from the governor, and that's why we sit here today.
The other assistants fired today were co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Craig Stutzman, who was in the red here, defensive tackles coach Ricky Logo, who was seen leaving holding a lamp, offensive line coach Mark Weber, and cornerbacks coach and recruiting coordinator John Richardson. It remains unclear if Nick Rolovich was given a chance to say goodbye to his team, but Pat Chun intimated that he did not address them today.
Was Nick given a chance to say goodbye to his team or not?
We met this afternoon and he left as soon as we met.
Chun did address the football players today, though. He said that the team handled it maturely, but that there was understandably a lot of disappointment, sadness, and anger. This program has dealt with 2 player deaths and a player nearly shot to death over the past few years. Now they've lost their head coach and multiple assistants. To put it frankly, this team has been through more in the last 3 years than some have gone through in their lifetime.
They don't deserve this. I mean, that is a real point of heartbreak. And, you know, this 2021 team and this upper class, unfortunately for them, they have tons of experience persevering through adversity. And unfortunately for them, they're going to have to go find another way to persevere through this adversity. So, you know, at the end of the day, this is really not much to do about me. And this is really about how this impacts our student athletes. And that's really what my focus has been.
And so Chun pleaded with the fan base today to keep supporting this team, no matter their thoughts on Rolovich's situation.
I am making a heartfelt ask to Cougs to unify around this football team and give them the support and love they need to get through this season. I'm saddened for our football alumni and to all the proud Cougs all over the world for the fracturing that has transpired over the past few months. We need to infuse compassion, empathy, and unity back into our WSU community, and that healing process needs to begin immediately.
As for donations, WSU President Kirk Schultz says that he has heard from people who say they will not donate to WSU anymore after today's decision, and also from people who say they will donate more to WSU after today's verdict. The new man in charge for the Cougs is defensive coordinator Jake Dickert. We now send it over to Travis Green, who has more on him.
Hey there, Breno. We know Rolovich is out. The question now, who will take over? Washington State announced it will be defensive coordinator Jake Dickert. Dickert arrived as part of Rolovich's staff in 2020 and turned things around on his side of the ball. Last season, the rushing defense averaged 30 yards less per game from the 2019 season. However, WSU ranks 8th in points given up per game in the Pac-12 this season, so not doing so well this year. Dickert has 14 seasons of college football coaching experience. His most recent stop before Pullman was at the University of Wyoming, where he coached for 3 seasons and was the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys in 2019. So not a lot of time being in charge of a unit, but it is worth noting his 2019 Wyoming defense was ranked 11th in the country against the run. Here's Washington State President Kirk Schultz on Dickert taking over as interim head coach.
I'm really eager to have Coach Dickert standing in and serving as our acting coach. What a tough assignment for him and the rest of our coaches working with our student athletes during this time of change. But I have confidence that Jake will do the job.
We did a little digging, and you can see the now interim coach Jacob Dickert tweeted about getting vaccinated way back on May 7th, saying, "We all have a choice, but I am proud to do my part to stop the spread." In the end, his choice led to quite the opportunity for the 38-year-old. And also worth noting, the tweet was pinned to the top of his profile. Washington State will be holding a press conference for Dickert at 12:30 on Tuesday. No players will be made available to media this week. Reporting in the studio, Travis Green.
Well, today's move is making headlines all across the country, and several players are taking to Twitter to voice their reaction, including starting quarterback Jaden DeLora. DeLora wrote, in part, "Words cannot express our profound sadness and disappointment in the termination of our coach Nick Rolovich. Playing for him was a great honor that all of us will cherish forever. He put trust in me and allowed me to grow as a man both on and off the field. For that reason, we strongly disagree with today's decision." He went on to write, though, "Cougar football has always been bigger than any one person." Meantime, WSU kicker Dean Janikowski also took to Twitter tonight, writing, quote, "It's one thing to lose a head coach. It's another thing to have your AD be late to the most important meeting of the year," unquote, presumably referring to the coach, athletic director Pat Chun and the meeting he had with the team earlier today. So whether Rolovich would stay on as head coach after today has dominated the conversation surrounding the Cougs all season long. We had a crew on campus all day talking to students about their thoughts on the vaccine mandate, both for teachers and for Rolovich. And we spoke with a couple of students after the news broke today that Rolovich had been fired.
That's a little bit shocking, honestly. I didn't think he would be fired for that, but I guess if that's what he needs to do is get the vaccine to keep his job, then he has to do it.
It seemed like the team just started to kind of start picking up pace and starting to do well. So I don't really know. I hope they can go and win games still.
So for context, WSU said a couple of weeks ago that nearly 90% of its staff across the entire university system were fully vaccinated. As for students on the Pullman campus, at least 98% are vaccinated, according to the university. Again, we have reactions coming in from all across the state and the nation. Nick Rolovich's firing has been trending on Twitter all night long. So we will continue to follow this story as we learn more.